think the analogy I used was it felt the same way I felt like when I came out from the delivery room and told my family, like, it's a healthy baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked a little about like the end of this, but I want to do kind of like a timeline in my head, at least in terms of what we're talking about. Like, you guys decide it's ending, like the final season is getting prepped. You and Jared went to the writer's room, right?
Yeah. So during the hiatus between season 14 and 15, Jared and I went out to LA and sat down in the writer's room, which I think is the first time we've ever done that. You know, we sat there and listened, and I didn't think it was going to be it wasn't like a brainstorming session, or it was like, this is what we have, take it or leave it. And I kind of walked out of there just uneasy. I don't know whether it was just the fact that I had just heard the ending of a show that had been going for 15 years, and I just, you know, too close to it to really accept a finality to it. But it certainly wasn't, it wasn't settling in as easy as I had hoped. And I struggled with it. And this is no secret. I've shared this before. So I had a conversation with Clique about it. This is going back a year, over, you know, maybe a year and a half ago. He just kind of put things in a perspective that really helped me kind of identify why I was having trouble with it, but also why it was a really great idea for an ending. And so from then on, I was kind of all in.
I mean, is that when it really, I know you guys have talked a little about like, those were the days when it kind of started to finally creep in, like the feeling that it was ending. Like, what were those days like on set, like pre-COVID?
The scene between Cass and Dean, basically Cass's goodbye scene, it started to hit a little bit that day, because, you know, there's been these big emotional scenes throughout the show, especially between both Cass and Dean, and between Cass and Sam, between Dean and Sam, between Jack. You know, a variety of characters have had these big emotional, poignant scenes, so to speak.
Right.
But just kind of knowing the levity of that one, and knowing that this was Misha's kind of tearful goodbye to Cass, was tough. And I kind of did my best to hold it together on my end. I remember looking over and seeing several of the crew members just like in tears, kind of watching from the sidelines. And so I think it kind of started to hit me then. Jared was a wreck from episode 1 of season 15. He was just like, he was a struggle bus the whole season. So, and admittedly so, like, he's like, oh yeah, I got emotional from day one. And I just kind of, I was like, I kept pushing it off. I'm like, no. Like, we still got episodes to shoot. We've still got a lot of work to do. And so I just kind of kept treating it as, you know, another season, another episode, another day on set. And then that scene with Misha was, you know, hard to ignore, as far as kind of the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
And but then this, like, I want to try to use my words. Then COVID hit, and all of a sudden it was like, oh great, I don't have to deal with it anymore.
Yeah.
Or I don't have to deal with it right now. So there was almost a pressure release when they said, hey, we're pressing pause now for this virus. You know, we'll be back when it gets under control. Now, I just assumed that it would be under control, like a lot of us, hoping that it would be under control in you know, several weeks, a few months, whatever it might be. But then as time kept going, and the data kept rolling in, and it just looked like we were never gonna come back. Obviously, I knew we would, because I don't think the entertainment industry was just gonna pack up shop and, that'd be the end of it. We'd all be out of work.
You take your break, you come back. You
Yeah.
have to quarantine for 2 weeks. Like, are you spending those 2 weeks in quarantine just like thinking about the end? Like, what was your quarantine experience?
At first, it was like the first, 4 days, I felt like I was on like house arrest. Like, I was like, it was Jared and I who were in quarantine, and then also Rob, Benedict, and I don't know if I'm spoiler alerting this, but Jake Abel. So we were all like quarantined together. So we would have daily Zoom parties.
Happy hours?
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, Jake made a video, because you'll have to see it at some point. So Jake and Rob were staying in the same place, which is where the show puts up a lot of the guest stars. It's like it's like an executive suite for extended stays. It's not a hotel. It's like a furnished living type of thing. So they were one story above each other, or below each other, and there was I believe there were some bottles of booze that were tied onto some string and lowered down to when someone maybe ran out of booze, and the delivery guy was taking his time, and then was hoisted back up to make another. And we made a whole, like, there's an entire videos of being made like via Zoom. Jake like cut together a whole movie.
Oh my God. All right. So you finally get back to set. We'll jump to the final day, because why not? I mean, how would you describe like the feeling on set? Like, did it feel different the final day?
Yeah, so there were kind of two last days. There was the final day, which production, especially Bob Singer, wanted to have the last page of the script shot on the last day of filming, which I agreed with. I thought that was the right thing to do for a variety of reasons. But there was also the final day on the sound stages, which happened to be, it was a Friday that we shot the final day at our sound stages, which has been our home for 15 years. And then we went on the road the following Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then Wednesday was the final day of filming. And that was up in the mountains and this beautiful vista views, and really, really cool. So it was a cool way to finish it out, but it was a little different. It was a little odd, because we usually always finish on stage.
Sure. There
was a lot of like tearful goodbyes. Like, I walked around as they were like ripping apart the Men of Letters set, saw them like brooming out stage 3, and saw them packing up our lockup wardrobe and props, and everything was kind of splayed out and getting itemized. And, it looked like people were getting ready for the biggest garage sale you've ever seen. And it was emotional. And also, that was probably the most emotional day in the script, was what happened, what we filmed on that day. So I knew that was kind of that was the summit, as far as emotion and feelings, was that day, was that Friday. And then it was kind of cruising to the end the next 3 days. So we got to the last scene of the last day, and I took a drive in Baby by myself down a road, which was kind of cool. I just was like, see you guys, I'm gonna go for a drive. And yeah, so that was, but again, the feeling I had that day was more like pride, emotional pride. Like, look what we've done. Look how far we've come. And look at these people who's, who helped us build this incredible piece of art that we'll get to hang our hats on for the rest of our lives. So it was more prideful. I think the analogy I used was it felt the same way I felt like when I came out from the delivery room and told my family, like, it's a healthy baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it feel yet like it's over? Like, obviously it hasn't aired, but like I was talking to Bob and he talked about like his moment was kind of like driving away from like Vancouver and from set and all that. And I remember with college, it was like, which is 1/4 of what you guys did. I didn't feel like college was over until I didn't go back the next fall. Like,
Yeah.
has that set in for you yet?
I don't know. I've had kind of a series of moments like that. I don't think I've had any one big, like, you know, big slap in the face of that's it.
Yeah.
I've tried to, my thing is I've also tried to recognize those moments and take them in. Because usually my MO is to just ignore them and push it away. I get that from Dean, I guess. And so, you know, there was a moment in my trailer when I took off my boots for the last time, and I've spent so much time in them that I've worn 4 pairs out, and I kept this last pair, and I looked at them, I took them off and I looked at them, and they were sitting next to a wardrobe box that was getting packed up with some of my personal items and stuff inside my trailer, and I just took a picture of it. You know, I just was like, it's like literally like hanging up the boots. So that was a moment. Driving back to town after they said that's a series wrap was another, like, this will be my last drive back home or back to downtown Vancouver from the set of Supernatural. Little moments like that were just like, you know, and trying to absorb that and remember it, and enjoy it.